Hello, it's Germ Day Storms, and I've been really sick for several days now, so I haven't been able to get into the studio. But I wanted to do something because I'm just tired of being sick. And so, since it's too dangerous to be coughing while I'm cutting glass, I thought I would just paint something that kind of was indicative of the way I felt or would make me happy. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to be painting when I started off doing this, but I knew I wanted to work with a lot of blue since I was feeling kind of blue. And so that's what I've started off doing here. I'm doing watercolor wet on wet. I've added a piece of washi tape just to mask off a white spot so I could date this and put it into my sketchbook binder later. Some of the blues I thought was a little too bright, and so I've dulled down, believe it or not, some of the color by using the complement color, which for those who know color wheel know that the complement of blue is orange, so it helps make it just a little less vivid. And even when I'm sick, I'm impatient, and so I have decided to try to help dry it along. I wasn't worried about it streaking. As you can see, I've got paper down on my workbench, and so it's okay if I get paint on there. Okay, so there's be a table. So I'm painting like a tabletop, and I've decided to draw coffee because I really love coffee, and just a wonky cactus because that's the way I feel. My throat's really prickly. Sorry. So I've added in a couple of shades of green for my cactus, and I'm going to do the fine detail work on this later. I'm not really worried about the way that the shape that it looks or anything because it's a wonky cactus. The way I'm going to do the fine detail work on both the cactus and the cup of coffee is I'm going to use a micro pen, like a really ultra fine pen. Sorry about that. Um, the way that I decided to draw the cup of coffee, it's kind of like when you go to one of the chains. I didn't want to be chain specific here, but I drew a rectangle for the base, a slightly larger, or I should say, slightly wider rectangle to be the sleeve that's going to go on the coffee cup, then a little squatty rectangle over the top of the coffee cup, and then the lid, which is another rectangle with a slant or a trapezoidal type of shape. And I just used a light pencil to to sketch it in. Sorry. I wanted to do a good contrast between the cup and the sleeve, and so I'm going with a purple cup, going on that whole idea of being blue and shades of blues and purples here. And then for the sleeve, I went in like a yellow or gold type of color. And then just like a gray lid. Since the background is colored with the shades of blues and purples, I wanted you to be able to see that the lid and it's not white. So then of course every really good cup of coffee is hot, and so there's steam that's gonna be coming up off of this. And like I said, I'm gonna actually add in the detail later after it's completely dried, and I'll just take my pen and draw in the details. So, what some may not know is that, I have RA, I have rheumatoid arthritis, and I take immunotherapy I have to have shots every 2 weeks to help control my rheumatoid arthritis. But as a result, it does make me a little more prone to infections, and so that's probably why I have this cold or sinus infection. Sorry about that. And the goal here was to try to make it more of a terracotta or brown, different shades of brown on the flower pot for the cactus. And so I've done that. There's a little bit of a time lapse where I had to walk away to let some things dry. I had a cactus back in grad school that I really liked. Sorry. It was a little short, squatty thing, but it had these cute little flowers, no blooms on it. And so I thought that would make this wonky cactus also have little tiny blooms. The cactus I'm talking about from grad school, I had a conference in Europe, and so I let my younger brother, watch it, for like 2 or 3 weeks, and I came back and it died. Apparently, he had no problems. Somehow he killed off the cactus. So you can see here with the pen, I started to go over some of the finer detail, add a little definition into the steam coming up off the coffee, and that you can see it or distinguish a little bit more from the background, the swirling background. I'm going to add in some hash marks on the sides and on the cup, and also line in the different sections. You're going to see the most detail on the actual sleeve, so I wanted to give that crinkled look, but I didn't want it to have the look of like jail garb. And so when I draw on this, I just kind of let the pen skip, especially here on the sleeve. Same putting in the hash marks. But here I go. I'm just going to kind of let it skip a little. To give it some character and to make it look a little weathered. And like I said, I didn't want to just have me straight lines. And have it look like something from prison. This is the next day. I've let it dry even further so that way I can come back and finish putting in the detail on the flower pot and the cactus itself, drawing the little thorns and the ridges for the cactus. I thought it may be a little interesting to see, which I go through a project like this step by step. And I may try to do something similar with a couple of the other projects I've been working on, or was working on prior before getting sick. Here, I'm about finished. The fun part is always removing the tape and to see or to hopefully see the discrete edges on the painting. And so I used painter's tape here just to keep it flat and stretched, and that way it helps to decrease the amount of warping that would happen with the water since doing wet on wet. Now I'm removing the washi tape, and the last things I'm going to do is write in the date, because I'm going to put this, I have a binder that I keep, it's like a journal for me, and so I write in the date. I actually don't have very good handwriting. It's gotten worse with the arthritis, and so don't judge me on that. But I try to make some of the downstrokes a little thicker, and so that way it gives a little bit more of a stylistic look to the printing. And then I'll do a close-up shot in just a second, to that way you can see. I think it turned out really well, and I'm most pleased. It helps me remember this time and get through this. If you like it, please feel free to subscribe. Thanks. Have a good day.